Hi, boys and girls. I'm on chapter 4, Kickball in the Rain, and this one is told by Ashley. Ashley had a theory. If she didn't unpack her things, then maybe she could still change her family's mind, and they could all move back to Ann Arbor before school started. She didn't talk about it with anyone else, not even Carrie, who shared a room with her. They'd been in the new house 3 days, and Ashley's siblings had already unpacked their clothes, their books, and their toys. And even though Mom was still working on things downstairs, everyone was amazed at how the new house was starting to feel more and more like home. But not for Ashley. The place was more like an acquaintance. Fine enough, just not a friend. Not yet. Probably not ever. It was morning, and Ashley could hear the other kids downstairs. She unzipped her backpack and found her favorite sketchbook. Then, like she'd done every morning since their moving truck got here, Ashley checked her best drawing, the one of their home in Michigan. "I still miss you," she whispered. "Don't ever change." Down in the kitchen, Mom was balancing on a stepladder, moving dishes and containers from one cupboard to the next. "Why?" She sounded so frustrated. "Can't I get these shelves organized?" "They look good." Ashley poured a bowl of cereal and sat at the table with Carrie and Brooke. "Where's Luke and Aaron?" "At the pond." Brooke pointed to the back door. "They practically live out there." Ashley agreed. The two youngest were obsessed with this place, like they'd forgotten about Michigan completely. Just then, Dad bounded into the kitchen, the biggest smile on his face. "This is it, my first day at the hospital." He poured a cup of coffee and looked at the girls. "How's everyone on this beautiful morning?" "Perfect." Carrie gave him a thumbs up, and Brooke did the same. "Terrible," Ashley wanted to say, but that would spoil her dad's happy mood, so she kept the word to herself. Instead, she studied her father. "You sure look fancy, Daddy." "Thank you." He bowed to Ashley and her sisters. Then he turned to Mom. "And what about you, my fair queen?" "Me? Hardly fair." Mom wore sweatpants and a t-shirt. She laughed and brushed her hair back from her face. "I'm a mess." Ashley studied her mother. Definitely a messy sort of queen, but it was nice of Daddy to try. Mom sighed and climbed down the ladder. She faced Dad. "You're going to love working here." She raised her hands in the air and then hugged Dad's neck. "We need a send-off." Ashley banged her spoon on the counter. "Yay, Daddy! Dr. Baxter!" Carrie and Brooke cheered as well as Aaron and Luke walked in. In no time, they were all clapping and cheering. Dad threw his sunglasses on and did an Elvis-like pose. Thumbs up in the air and eyebrows raised. Thank you very much." He grabbed his bag and keys and pointed up. "And thank you, Lord, for my wonderful family." Dad hugged everyone, but he held on to Mom the longest. He kissed the tip of her nose. "The kitchen is perfect, just like you." "Thanks." Mom looked more relaxed. "Have a wonderful first day." He kissed her lips this time. "Bye, my love." "Hey." Luke covered his face. "Yuck." "It's not yuck." Brooke smiled at their parents. "That's how marriage is supposed to be." Ashley thought so too. When Dad was gone, Luke washed his hands in the kitchen sink. "So, mister," Mom grinned at him, "where have you and Aaron been hiding?" Luke raised his eyebrows. His blonde hair was sweaty and his cheeks had smudges on them. "We set Larry free." Luke propped his shoe on the closest chair and tied his shoelaces. He was tired of being inside. Mom took a step back and studied Luke. "Who is Larry?" "He's just my friend." Luke made a nervous face as Mom. "My lizard friend." Aaron shrugged. "He was a nice lizard, Mommy. You should have met him." Mom looked at Aaron, then back at Luke. "You had a..." She leaned over her knees for a long moment. "We cannot have lizards inside." She sounded very serious. "Where was he living?" "In here?" Luke pointed to a dirty jar on the counter. It was very close to Mom's stack of clean dishes. "Luke Baxter, that's one of my special canning jars." Mom moved it to the sink. "How could he breathe in this thing?" Luke frowned. "That's why I set him free." He kept moving slower and looking more tired. He managed a slight smile. "It was time." "Fine." Mom stood and stared at her cupboards again. Then she looked at Ashley and her siblings. "Everybody's unpacked, right?" Ashley thought about slipping out of the room. Instead, she focused on the milk at the bottom of her cereal bowl while her siblings all nodded their heads. Yes, they were unpacked. Mom told them they could wash their dishes and go play. Only Ashley stayed quiet. Her heart pounded in her chest. "Ashley?" Mom locked eyes with her. Carrie and Brooke each gave Ashley a sympathetic look before they left the kitchen. Ashley and her mom were alone now, so there was no way to hide the news. I still have a few boxes, she lowered her chin, in my closet. Mom joined her at the kitchen table. Then she studied Ashley's face. You were supposed to be finished by last night? Her tone sounded disappointed. I can't. Ashley blurted out the words. I'm waiting. She shifted in her chair. Mom scrunched up her face. Waiting for what? Ashley rested her arms on the table. In case we change our minds, so I don't have to unpack and then repack again. This time patience seemed to come over her mother. She folded her hands and looked at Ashley. We aren't changing our minds, sweetie. We're staying in Bloomington. This is home. Ashley was about to explain at least 10 reasons why this definitely was not home when the doorbell rang. The other kids came running in through the back door. Somebody's here. Mom pointed to the front entrance. It looks like a family. Mom made her way to the front door with Ashley and her siblings right behind. Sure enough, there on the porch stood a smiling mom behind 3 smiley kids. The mom held a covered dish. Hi. Mom opened the door wide enough for Ashley and others to gather around her. Hello, I'm Rachel Howard, and these are my kids, Stephen, Carly, and Marcia. She pointed to each of the kids as she introduced them. Well, hello, Ashley's mom grinned. Thanks for coming by. Ashley studied the family. Stephen looked old, like a high schooler. Carly was maybe around Brooke's age, and Marcia looked to be about the same age as Ashley. The kid's mother was still talking, and her stomach was big and round. Not like she'd had too much cake, but like she might have a baby in there. Anyway, welcome to the neighborhood. Miss Howard laughed and looked over her shoulder toward the road. Not really a neighborhood. The houses are too far apart. Her eyes found Mom's again. Either way, we live 3 doors down. Her words came fast and happy. Just thought we'd stop and introduce ourselves. That's so nice. Mom stepped back. Please come in. She ushered the Howard family inside and shut the door behind them. Now it was Mom's turn to introduce the 5 of them, which she did. We don't want to impose, Mrs. Howard handed the dish to Mom. This is lasagna in case you're still getting your kitchen together. Ashley couldn't believe it. How did Mrs. Howard know? Looks like I may get to return the favor, Mom gestured to the woman. When are you due? 2 months, Miss Howard laughed, but I'm ready for this baby to be here already. Ashley did a quiet nod. Sure enough, Miss Howard was pregnant. You look fantastic, Mom smiled. Any advice for one more? Miss Howard blew a wisp of hair out of her face. Be patient and don't rush. Mom patted Miss Howard's arm. And no, you'll have help when the time comes. They made a plan to get together for a kickball game tomorrow, and then the Howard family said goodbye. Ashley could hardly contain herself. She loved kickball. Still, she watched them go with squinty eyes. They seemed nice. Maybe. Probably. But the kids hadn't talked, so maybe Marcia had only come along because her mom made her come. Maybe she was a mean girl. She certainly was not Lydia. She probably didn't even know how to play kickball. There was no real way to know. Not until tomorrow. Later that day, Dad came back to the house even happier than when he left. Over dinner, he told them that he'd made a few friends and met some new patients. He couldn't stop smiling. I believe I'll be working there a very long time. Sick feeling came over Ashley. A long time? She pushed her fork around her and her carrots. That meant one thing. A move home to Ann Arbor was less likely all the time. The next day, the Howard family showed up right on time, and everyone headed out front to play kickball. Marcia walked up beside Ashley. I'm going into 5th grade. She gave Ashley a shy look. What about you? Same. Ashley looked up at the sky. Looks like it could rain. Marcia shrugged. Kickball in the rain is still kickball. Ashley laughed. If Marcia liked rain and kickball, they just might be friends. Not like Lydia, of course, but it was a start. They played 4-on-4. Brooke and Carly played with Ashley and Marcia, and Stephen played with Aaron, Carrie, and Luke. The moms sat in folding chairs and sipped iced tea. The game was more fun than Ashley had hoped. She was next. So she stepped up to the home plate, which was an old pizza box from their very first night here. Stephen rolled the ball toward her, and she kicked it long and fast. Home run! Ashley yelled as she ran to first, then on to second. Yeah, there's that boot, Brooke cheered from the sideline. Keep going, Ashley. Ashley picked up her pace. She could hear Marcia cheering for her, too. A quick look, and Ashley saw Luke chasing down the ball. But it was a mile into the weeds. Ashley rounded third and ran for home. Luke threw the ball to Stephen just as Ashley jumped on the pizza box. Safe! She spread her arms in front of her like an umpire. That's a run. Stephen jogged over and gave her a high five. Nice job, Ashley. Boom! Out of nowhere, a huge crack of thunder echoed around them, and within seconds, giant drops of water came pouring down. The kids scrambled for the house, except for Stephen, who grabbed the 2 folding chairs. Mom and Miss Howard followed the kids to the porch before the next bolt of lightning. But they were drenched, all of them. Ashley wiped the water off her face. Marcia was doing the same, and she smiled at Ashley. Best kickball home run I've ever seen. She looked at Brooke. You were right. She's got a good boot. Thanks. Ashley wanted to talk more, but the Howards packed up to leave. They all promised to get together again soon. Miss Howard even invited them to go on their boat. Lake Monroe is beautiful, she smiled. You'll all love it. After the neighbors left, the storm grew stronger. Mom sat by Ashley on the sofa, and other kids piled in around them just as more thunder shook the house. You know, Mom spoke in a quiet voice, after lightning, you can always count until the thunder comes. That tells you how many miles away the lightning bolt is. Bright light lit up in the front yard. I'll try it. Carrie counted slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom! She looked at her mother. So that lightning bolt was 6 miles away? Yeah, about that. Mom nodded. But in a storm like this, lightning could come at any time. Best to stay inside. The rain came harder than before, and Ashley settled in against her mother. Storms like this were the best, like God was having a concert. Ashley didn't want to like Bloomington or their house or anything about this move, but she had to admit something as she sketched herself kicking a home run that night in her room. Today hadn't been that bad. She had made another memory, but more than that, she had made something else. Her very first Bloomington friend. That was the end of chapter 4.